Hey guys, MasakoX here, and welcome to some extra value content, and I'm pretty sure that you guys like a little bit of that extra value content. But what is this content about exactly, and how many times can I say the word content in this opening gambit? The answer was 4? Probably 3. Last week, I put out a Google form on my community tab where you can find the latest updates about what I'm up to, and what one of those things was what you thought about the state of Dragon Ball and where it is right now. And this was more of like a survey questionnaire about what you guys think, not what I think it is, because you've heard enough of that already. I want to know what the general consensus of my viewer base thinks about Dragon Ball right now, because there's a lot of things to think about concerning Dragon Ball. I think it's good to share what the collective knowledge and understanding of the franchise is, instead of me trying to pluck an idea out of my mind, whatever's in there. Spoiler, probably not a lot. But before we begin, I just thought I'd just say that Crunchyroll does help support the channel, and if you go to crunchyroll.com/Masako, you can actually get a 30-day free trial of Crunchyroll Premium. You can get all the best from Japan with no ad breaks in 1080p quality, and seriously, there are lots of things to actually watch on Crunchyroll, which of course includes Dragon Ball Super if you want to remind yourself that Dragon Ball as a TV series does exist. Take the link in the description and you can get a 30-day free trial of the best that Crunchyroll has to offer regarding the world of anime. So there you go, that's the best of anime. Let's just take a look at the best of what you guys think of Dragon Ball. And don't think this is some kind of ad hoc spur of the moment thing. This was prepared. I have a tablet ready and everything to make myself look all professional and stuff like that, and British and erudite and endearing. I am a professional. Also I say. But that doesn't matter. What matters is your responses to the questions that I put out for you. And I had over 660 responses. That's quite a lot in the space of a week. And it'll actually be very interesting to see what the reaction is before the video comes out and after the video comes out. So I'll leave the link to this form in the description. But anyway, the first question I put to you was, would you still consider yourself a Dragon Ball fan? Actually, a whopping 86% of you say that, yeah, you'd still consider yourself a Dragon Ball fan. Well, that's great. That Dragon Ball is still engaging enough for you to still call yourself one, and that everything is going relatively smoothly. But the more interesting one is that it's actually a pretty big contingent of you that say, yes, you are, but you are slowly losing interest. Why is that? Well, there are multiple reasons why. There is just no mention about the show's future, the manga is trickling along, that's all very well and good, but not everybody actually has access or wants to read the manga right now. They wait until the binded volumes come out, and that's what I do. And the span between each volume, it could be like months. Hey, it's just like an R&R episode, am I right? And then 3% of you said that you wouldn't call yourself a Dragon Ball fan, but you don't mind watching the series, which is actually quite interesting that A, you would give Dragon Ball a go, and actually, you're even here, so if you're here just for me, or just for everything else here, then thank you. I appreciate it. Now the next question was, okay, you may call yourself a fan, or maybe a fan, but out of all of the multi-episode series, so this is the one where it's like a long-running one, which one of those was your favorite? And okay, I don't think you need to know the answer, you probably already do. 65% of you said, yes, Dragon Ball Z is your favorite, that is to be expected. But what was interesting is that nearly 20% of you, a fifth of you, said that Dragon Ball Super was your favorite multi-episode series. There's a lot of blowback that Super has, and the fact that it's actually made a positive impact that nearly a fifth of you out there would consider yourself a Dragon Ball Super fan over a Dragon Ball Z fan, or you just prefer that series to Z, you know, that's testimony to the improvement that the series had. So whatever they were doing, that actually ended up with what we got at the end of Super, and of course Dragon Ball Super Broly, it means that they were doing something right. 11% of you said that Dragon Ball was your favorite series, the original one, and okay, that's pretty cool, because everybody needs to see the original Dragon Ball series, so that's good. You're looking back to the show's heritage. Good on you, and I really do appreciate that, and okay, there is, of course, Dragon Ball GT. About 3% of you, or 20 out of the 663 respondents, actually said that GT was their favorite. and I don't know whether that was people making fun of it, or whether they actually genuinely thought GT was very good. The stories had potential, but again, the way it was carried out, less so. There were people out there that did say that Super Dragon Ball Heroes was their favourite. About 7 of you. Out of everything that's been going on, what do people think about the short to medium term future of Dragon Ball? 2020/2021, what's it gonna be? And 65% of you thought a continuation of Dragon Ball Super on TV would be the thing that would tickle your fancy. That's nearly 2/3 of you would just go, yes, we'd just like a new series, please. And I am in total agreement with you. Having an episode out every single week on multiple platforms keeps things in the public knowledge. And yes, you have a movie that can generate hype, but that can, that can go into the background for a long time before suddenly getting a new trailer, and then it goes up for a while, and then it just goes back down again. It's peaks and troughs for a movie, whereas a TV series, you just have to wait a few days and you get the next one. It's always in your area of awareness. People did want a movie, and this was broken into 2 opinions. This is really interesting, and this is something that surprised me. 22% of you said that they would prefer a sequel specifically to Broly, but only 9% of you actually wanted to have the Moro arc represented in a movie. And that's really interesting, because the Moro arc at the moment, from what we see, is a really massive tour de force for the series. And yeah, all I can say is that I'm astonished about the difference, but at the same time, I'm not, because it's Broly. So another one was Just the Games Will Suffice, and that one was a much smaller affair, with just 20 or 3% of you saying that, oh okay, it's fine, we don't need a series, just the video games will do. And yeah, that's a very small one. And then there's about 1% that says nothing. You don't need to do anything, the series is done. Yes, it's a very long-running series, and I understand why some people might think that's enough, but at the same time, oof, harsh. Now this next one really took me for a loop, because I asked people to rate out of 10 what they thought Dragon Ball Super was, now that this first stint or whatever we get is done. 34% of you, so over 1/3 of you, said that they would rate Dragon Ball Super at least a 7 out of 10. Now for me, a 7 out of 10 would be rated as good. And then 28% of you actually said that it was very good, an 8 out of 10. So the vast majority of people that responded to this said that they would rate at least Dragon Ball Super as a good. And that's not too bad, given the fact that nostalgia is so powerful with Dragon Ball Z. That Dragon Ball Super has made an impact, and it's been pretty good and meaningful, much more so than GT, and that came right after Z. 13% would still rate it a 6 out of 10, and then after that you get 7% for 5 out of 10, but they're minuscule. In fact, 4% of you would actually give it a 10 out of 10. The mood is positive with Super, and that's great. And then I just thought, well, Super Dragon Ball Heroes is a thing, how would people rate that? And yeah, this one's more of just like a traditional curve. And the mean of this is about 5 out of 10, so people think it's okay. Yes, there has been an upward trend with the latest episodes, actually Super Dragon Ball Heroes being taken seriously and people realizing, oh yeah, people are actually watching this. Okay, let's put some more resources into it! The spike is mainly on the positive side, some 6s and 7s more, but, there are a lot of people that do rate it as a 1. 3% of you said 1 out of 10. And I can understand why. In fact, I can understand why this is kind of a confusing subject. That there are lots of people out there that just don't know what to think. That's fair. There you go. Super Dragon Ball Heroes has made some kind of impact. Now this question I wanted to ask was, what do people think about the way that Dragon Ball is being handled by Toei? Are they treating it well? Are they doing this very big franchise justice? Again, this is something that's really kind of making me think, well, okay, it's not as clear-cut as I thought it was. 68% of you right here would say Toei Animation, handling Dragon Ball well, sort of. And I can understand why that might be. There really should have been an announcement for the series, if they're going to do one, a couple of months ago. And it should have actually been coming out round about now. But with One Piece Stampede becoming a thing, things have been delayed and whatever, or maybe it's not happening at all, because Toei just don't know what to do with it. They're focusing on one piece, they're focusing on other things. It's very confusing, and it's leaving Dragon Ball fans thinking, well, okay, what's going to happen with the show? Because Dragon Ball Super's a thing, the games are doing really good, Fighters has been an absolute sensation, and Super Dragon Ball Heroes itself is not the worst thing out there. You know, what's going on? Yeah, it's just people are being left confused. 9% of you say not really, so yeah, that's a bit of like a, no, you're not doing this right, because for an average show, okay, there is a bit of a break, but this is Dragon Ball here, so there are some people that think, well, you know, you're not doing it justice. But at the same time, there are about a fifth of you that say, yeah, Toei's handling it just fine. Okay, that's perfectly fair. But I think that that could rise in the coming weeks, that people will start to think, they're not being sure about it. The next question was, when was the last time that you made a Dragon Ball related purchase that wasn't an in-app purchase within Dokkan Battle or Legends or something like that? This one was pretty much, you know, really kind of evenly spread, so I won't spend too much time on this. But the biggest contingent, but only just, was that the last purchase that anybody made Dragon Ball related was about 3 to 6 months ago, with more than a year ago just behind there. Pretty much inconclusive. It really depends where you are. So fair enough, thank you very much for responding all the same. Now my focus moved on to the games, because the games are a very big part of the Dragon Ball fandom. Out of the people that would have played a Dragon Ball game at least a couple of times a month, more people were playing Dragon Ball Fusions than Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission. So, Nintendo, please port Fusions to the Switch, because there's your answer right here. Fusions is a very good game. If you still have a 3DS, I would suggest going and finding a copy of Fusions. It's such a good and refreshing game. And another surprise right here was that Dragon Ball Legends, it's only been out for a year, it's almost got as many people playing it as Dokkan Battle, which has been around for 4 years or so. It's not taken that long for Legends to catch up, and with more content coming out for it all the time, I can see that Legends would overtake Dokkan Battle in terms of being the more popular mobile game. Xenoverse 1 and 2, yeah, of course, but it's close between that and Fighters. I suppose it's that competitive element that brings Fighters up there. But again, Xenoverse has been around for 4 years or so, Fighters has only been around for 18 months, so that immediacy, that quick, rapid rise to the top, Fighters will overtake Xenoverse, unless there's a Xenoverse 3. And then of course there's Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, yeah, this could skew this even further. But the next question is related to Kakarot, and lots of people were actually giving their opinion about it. Half of you, exactly half of you, are thinking about buying the game. There's still more information coming out for it, now including more playable characters. It's not just about Goku. You could play as Vegeta, I think, as well as Piccolo. 32% say they will buy the game, 17% probably not. And I can understand why. It's an RPG, it's not your typical fighting game for Dragon Ball like Fighters or something like that. It's something that will require a little bit more information and a bit more gameplay about it. Yeah, Bandai, if you do a demo of Kakarot, I think more people will be more convinced to buy the game. So the last one here is a little bit self-indulgent. In terms of my content, what do you watch the most? And I appreciate this, that 35% of people say all the videos. So thank you very much for responding there. So there we go. There are the pie charts for the state of Dragon Ball. And what the overall opinion is that Dragon Ball Super has made a good impact, Broly has made an even better impact, we all want a brand new series to come out, at least the vast majority, 2/3 of you want one, and on the whole, Super Dragon Ball Heroes isn't the worst thing out there. And Toei, you really need to step up what you're doing with Super. That's the collective thought of you guys out there. So again, if you want to actually add your thoughts to the forum, then the link is down below in the description and as a pinned comment. Thank you so much for giving your input to this question, and I hope to do more of these, because having a Google form is really, really fascinating. It's a really good way to have a long-term focus on what things are like about Dragon Ball. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you're having a good day. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!